You know what time it is. You know. It's time for episode number 75 of Flugelhorn Bjorn, the show where I, your host, Ryan, has a different Swedish man named Bjorn on the show every week and gives his top flugelhorn tips. Unfortunately, my guest Bjorn today, he went down. I'm sorry. He was taking a plane to get here to the recording studio. Okay? And it was a terrible accident. The plane went down. Airborne Bjorn went down. Airborne Flugelhorn Bjorn went down. And you know what the most upsetting part about that is that it wasn't Alec Baldwin. Okay, because then I would have gone back from number 2 up to number 1. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone out there knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about eToro, the cryptocurrency trading platform that's perfect for me. Okay, because you know what a screw up I am, okay, and this platform is awesome for me because it allows you to trade with virtual currency. Get your feet wet, okay? You're gonna walk up to you're on the shore, okay? You're on the shore of crypto trading, okay? And there's a huge tidal wave coming at you, and you're like, oh, airborne Flugelhorn Bjorn, there's a huge tidal wave coming at me. What am I gonna do? And I say, don't go at the tidal wave, dude. You don't want to go at the tidal wave, man. You just want to dip your toe on the edge of the pool. And that's what eToro allows you to do, because you don't have to risk anything, guys. You don't have to risk a single cent to get crypto trading experience. You mean BTC.com/trade. Make sure you go there, check out that link, okay? Because it helps us all out at the You, Me, and BTC network, the Dan Brown Familia, as the French say. You know, I was working up on my foreign languages, por favor, okay? Because I knew that my new guest, Bjorn, airborne Flugelhorn Bjorn, I didn't know if he would understand English, okay? So I figured I might have to talk a little Swedish-Spanish hybrid, okay? It was crazy, man. It was crazy. Alec Baldwin is not here today. He's out doing pitches for eToro, which, man... Break, dude, because I was the number 1 pitch man for eToro. I'm telling you about eToro right now. But then they went out and they got handsome looking Alec Baldwin. Do you know what I'm saying? Alec Baldwin wants you to trade on eToro also. I don't know what else to tell you. But they've got like 16, 17 different cryptos you can trade in there. And then after you're done practicing with the virtual portfolio they give you, go ahead and put your own money in there and rise to superstardom trading your own cryptos, okay? There's a whole bunch of resources on there that can help you become a better, more effective trader. And if you don't believe me, go on there and try the virtual side of things for free, guys. I'm telling you. So since Bjorn can't be here today, we're gonna go solo. And we're in the top 50, guys. The top 50 countdown. You heard me right. First we did number 99. Maybe we did number 100. I don't know. Well, I guess it was top 100, right? So we must have started on number 100. Then we went to 99, 98, 97, 96, 94, 93, 92, 91. I think I skipped 95. I don't know. I was counting so fast, dude. Guys. I may have skipped number 95. But what I'm not going to skip is number 50, because that is Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. Now... Lufia 2 ran into the same problem that a lot of games ran into as far as 16-bit games, okay? 16-bit games that came out at this time in the SNES life cycle. And you know, hang on. I gotta touch on this, guys. I want to say SNES. What, it's people in the United Kingdom, they say SNES. But here in America, I'm made to feel like some sort of freak. Okay, because I want to say SNES instead of the SNES. I'm sipping on water, guys. I'm sipping on water. I'm usually sipping on the diet ginger ale, and then I get the burps, okay? I get the little rumbly in my tumblies. And it's no good, okay? So, as much as I hate water, I am doing it for you guys, okay? I also hate eggnog, and I'm starting to gag a little bit. And this is not a joke. Oh. So I started gagging at work today because we were having a little party, and there was a little eggnog there, okay? And my stomach just... I can't do it. I can't talk about this because I have such a weak stomach. I just start gagging instantly. Okay. And guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not joking. I hate eggnog. I don't know how I started talking about this. Whatever. I'm losing my mind. Number 50. Why did I start talking about it? It's so gross, dude. It's so... I'm like starting to sweat because I was like trying to stop myself from gagging. Okay, and I'm just gonna start talking really fast so that I can't even like think about gagging. But I don't like it. I don't like eggnog. I don't like it. It's so thick. It's so thick, dude. But it's not like a milkshake thick. It's like gross, like bodily. This eggnog, dude. There's a cup of eggnog. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Cup of I freaking hate eggnog. I just gagged for like a minute or 2 minutes. Nobody was listening to me. How did I start talking about eggnog? Lufia 2, it ran into the same problem that a lot of things did late in the SNES life cycle. I said that, and then I was like, I want to call it SNES. United Kingdom says SNES. I got onto eggnog, which makes me gag. I have a really weak stomach. A lot of things. Oh, you guys are going to think I'm being dramatic or I'm joking or I'm messing around or just... Okay. So there was this why I couldn't handle the eggnog that I saw at work today. It's because it looked like it looked like just straight up freaking phlegm in a cup, dude. Dan's gonna come in here and be like, why are you gagging? Are you gonna vomit all over my carpet? I'm not. I just the texture and the consistency of the eggnog ruined me that much. And I'm trying to get through it so I can tell. Man, like, what a little puss, dude, that I can't handle looking at a cup of eggnog at my office without my stomach going all weebly wobbly, dude. Like, have you ever sat on Reddit on the toilet for too long and then you get up and your legs are just like not there and you're like, oh, and then you like think you're going down, like your stomach gets a little upset, you like lose your balance because your legs are asleep because you've been looking at Reddit for too long. That's like that sensation you get in your stomach, like that half second of like, whoa, like a little nausea. It's like what I'm feeling constantly thinking about that disgusting eggnog. Man. And I don't know why, like I'll eat some gross things, dude. Like I really like Spam. I love Spam. That's way more disgusting than eggnog. Eggnog just looks... It's so thick, dude. But it's not like a good milkshake thick. It's like, dude... Okay. Lufia 2. Rise of the Sinistrals. Guys, I'm going to be honest, I never played this game. I'm not an RPG man, okay? And this is an RPG game, like, right up the aisle of Final Fantasy. But Douche McAllister, okay? He has played this game, and he says, this is one of my absolute favorite games ever for any system. It's got puzzles, a revamped fighting scheme, tools, a great story, and capsule monsters. Capsule monsters, guys. They took the ancient cave from the first Lufia, and they made it better. They made magic better too. They pretty much made the overall game better in general. Play this darn game. Natsumi commands it. Released in 1996. Developed by Neverland. Publisher Natsumi. I remember what happened. I was saying I should be able to say SNES because the people in England do. And in America, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say SNES or else people think you're a stupid idiot. People don't take your retro gaming opinion seriously unless you say SNES. I want to say SNES, okay? You don't have to do that bullcrap over in England, dude. You just get to say SNES. And then I took a drink of water, and then I started thinking about how much I don't like water, okay? I'm just a soda pop man, and that's why I want to be drinking ginger ale, but I always burp into the microphone, and it's freaking disgusting, okay? And I can't keep my freaking rumbly tumblies under control. And then I started thinking about other drinks that make me, like, hate myself, okay? And other people. And eggnog. I saw eggnog today, dude. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. Oh, do I hate eggnog so much. I don't even know if I've ever had it. Oh, man. Evo. Search for Eden. Came out in 19... Hang on, bud. Hang the frick on. Okay, I just popped the sound right there. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. If you're listening in headphones, what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to turn your volume down. I'm going to need you to go back 15 seconds. I'm going to need you to re-listen to that. Okay, so I don't feel so bad about blowing out your eardrums because I'm warning you now, man. I am warning you now. If you're listening to what I just said a little bit ago, okay, that could have hurt your ears, and I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to feel bad, but now I'm trying not to feel bad because I'm giving you a warning. Game, like, Lufia 2 came out in 1996, okay? Like, the last Super Nintendo games were released in 1998 or whatever. But usually a system has pretty much died and isn't really being supported very much a few years before the last game comes out. I mean, let's think about it, guys. It's 2019 and they're still pounding. They are still pounding the Wii with Just Dance releases every year. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what happens when you're just trying to have a reasonable day in prison and then you drop the soap and it's just like, that is the Nintendo Wii? How the Nintendo Wii is being treated by Ubisoft in their Just Dance series, okay? They're going to put Just Dance into every nursing home in America before long. Because they've got all those Wii's there, okay? So you've got these Just Dance 2020 coming out on the Nintendo Wii, dude. I graduated high school like 10 years ago. I was, I think, a sophomore, and my mom I was like 14 years old, and my mom bought me and my siblings a Wii. And they're still pumping out games for that beast. I'm 27 years old now. They have literally been making Nintendo Wii games for like half of my entire life. Is that insane? I'm 27. Half my life they've been making Nintendo Wii games. They're still doing it. Wow. 1996, Lufia 2 came out, and like this is a really, really good game. So this is how games get so expensive. Games that were released at the very, very end of system life cycles, because unless it's just freaking shovelware or something that's easily like ported from last year's edition, like Just Dance or one of the FIFA games, often you get like the magnum opus. Do you know what I'm saying? At the very, very, very end of a system's life cycle. Super Mario Brothers 3 didn't come out too much time. It didn't come out too long before the Super Nintendo was due out. Guys, Grand Theft Auto 5, like my favorite game of the PS3 and Xbox Det är mer game du ska Netflix generate. Okay? Det är mer game just snack is mostly. My favorite game of the Xbox 360, PS3 generation, Grand Theft Auto 5, okay, at the very end, the PS4, ooh, baby, was that close? It was close, man. It was right on the tail. That was coming out soon. Little Samson for the NES. After the SNES, that thing goes for like $1,000 now. Donkey Kong Country 3, not the best game in the Donkey Kong series, but the most expensive because everybody had already moved on to N64 by the time it came out, and it's still a pretty darn good game. It's still a pretty darn good game. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Donkey Kong Country 3 is a good game. It's just because we're comparing it. We're comparing it up against two all-stars, man. We're comparing it against Donkey Kong Country 1 and Donkey Kong Country 2. Now, Donkey Kong Country 1 is a classic, and most people who played both even prefer Donkey Kong Country 2. Those are freaking good games, dude. That doesn't mean Donkey Kong Country 3 isn't good. It just means it has some stiff competition on the Super Nintendo as far as Donkey Kong Country games go. But that's the most expensive one now because it came out at the end. Okay? It came out at the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle, just like Lufia 2, and you can end up with a lot of games that are underappreciated at the time they're released because people are moving on to the next generation of consoles. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Think about it. The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us remastered. One of the best games on the PS4. The Last of Us, one of the best games on the PS3. And now they're coming out with The Last of Us 2, like only a few months before the PS5 is due out. And I don't think it's going to be too much of a stretch to say that The Last of Us 2 is going to be like a top 5 PS4 game. I don't. Naughty Dog does not mess around these days, okay? You know what I'm saying? They take the competition, they bend them over a barrel, and they show them all 48 continental United States. And then if they get around to it, they'll show them Alaska. They'll show them Hawaii. Man, even in Alaska, we got the Blockbusters closing. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. It really is. We've got Blockbusters. I would like to go into a Blockbuster, although Family Video is still doing okay. Number 49, Evo. Search for... Anyways. What I was saying about Lufia 2, even though I've never played it, is I don't doubt that it's a great game. But it is a shame that people kind of ignore games at the end of consoles' life cycles. And then at least when we're talking about the physical era of game releases, not digital downloads, the physical era, those things shoot up in price because not many people bought them. Not many were printed, not many left store shelves, not many made it to people's homes to then resell in 10 years. That's why Mega Man X3 costs $200. Mega Man X2 can cost almost $100. Like think about those Capcom games on the NES, okay? Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, good game. It costs like $15 now. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2 costs like $200 because it came out after the SNES was already pounding away the market. You had moved on. You had moved on from the NES, but that's a good game. And now it's $200. The same with DuckTales 2 on the NES. DuckTales 1, like $20. Not that expensive. DuckTales 2, like $150 or $200, man, just because it came out after people were done with the NES. And that's really a shame. I feel like we've missed out on a lot. I've missed out on playing a lot of good games in their original form because of that reason. Okay, because they're so expensive, because the people who were buying games during that point in time had already moved on to the next console. Lufia 2 experienced the same thing. Came out in 1996, man. Came out in 1996, and the SNES was not exactly going super duper 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 strong at that time. Schniffernese. Okay. Evo, search for Eden. Gaia, the daughter of the sun god Sol, is in need of a husband. In order to solve this problem, she offers an open challenge to all life forms on Earth. Whoever can evolve into the greatest life form will be allowed entry into the Garden of Eden and will win her hand in marriage. And so the competition begins. But then something goes wrong. Mysterious crystals appear and start corrupting life forms, forcing evolution and turning them into horrible, violent monsters. You must defeat these monsters, not only to earn the evolution points necessary to reach higher forms and win Gaia's love, but also to stop the destructive influence of the crystals and restore balance to the world. Never played this game. Never played this game. Came out in 1993, developed by Almanac, published by Enix. I've never played this game. This is a game I had never even heard of until the first time I read Sid Lexia's Top 100 Super Nintendo Entertainment System video games. Okay? And he's got it up there at number 49. This shows we just have a different taste in genres, okay? I'd probably put NHL 94 in one of the top 10 or 20 Super Nintendo games. He had it at number 100. That's 100, okay? That's 100. Now, I think that Sid Lexia's list is probably more accurate than mine in relation to all gamers. Yaheen? Because if you wanted to play like exclusively sports games, I don't think that you were giving the Super Nintendo a go back in the day. You're going for the Sega Genesis because for a while, it had undisputably the better library of sports games. And it was cheaper. So, like, if the games I want to play are sports games, why am I getting a Super Nintendo if I'm just paying more for something that doesn't have as good of games? For me, I've built most of my collection in the last few years. Do you know what I'm saying? Once I started getting that expendable income, even a little bit before then, I was probably 17 when I was dating a girl who kind of liked older video games because they mostly seemed simpler than newer ones, but she didn't have a ton of experience with them. So I'm like, okay, hang on. I was saying, so I was like, hang on, okay. So what I was saying to her is I was like, hang on. I want to experience this wonder for the first time also. You know what I mean? So up until that point, I'd really only ever bought new video games. But I'm like, okay, she likes retro video games. She likes 8-bit. So I got myself an NES. I'd never had one before. I was born after the NES. I'm drinking some water. And then I started buying new games for the NES, or for the SNES, or for the Sega Genesis. And it just got out of control, man. It got out of control. There's a certain little bit of, innocence and imagination required by the user that makes 8-bit and 16-bit games just a little bit more charming to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what brand new AAA release these days would you classify as charming? Do you know what I'm saying? Freaking Dark Souls and Skyrim and Madden NFL 20 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There's nothing charming about those. Do you know what I'm saying? I think I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm just going to say it that like every Super Mario game in the first 4 is better than all of those guys. Okay? And that's the most charming one of the bunch. Think about The Legend of Zelda. You're like, oh, dude, like I'm this cool little guy, and I'm like bopping around, and I'm shooting these cute looking guys that like, I know they're dangerous, but they're not like frightening. It's just kind of cool. But like, I'm using my imagination, and like, remember when I was a kid, man, and I'd go off like I'd go walking on a trail or something like that, or I'd be in my yard using my imagination, and like, this is the type of stuff that I was imagining myself doing, If you are trying to tell me that you were never 6 years old and you went exploring, pretending that you're some character like Indiana Jones or The Legend of Zelda, then you're lying, dude. Like, what 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid doesn't do that? You're lying. I know you're lying. I'm telling you what, man, I used to have full 11v11 football games out in my yard, and all that was out there was me, bunch of grass, and one football. I'd be out there doing spin moves, and I'd be like, oh, you take that, Mike Singletary, I'm middle linebacker. You can't take down 8-year-old Ryan Tofil with my little miniature Doug Flutie football, because I got this move. Pa, pa, pa. You know what I'm saying? Nothing captures that part of the user's creativity in today's games. It just doesn't. I remember playing Super Mario World, and there was a vanilla dome level where I'd be like, bullet bills would come from all over, okay? And I'd be like pretending that like Mario was like on the front lines of a battlefield, man, and like he had to get through, and I'd give myself different objectives and stuff like that. Now you've got hyper realistic headshots where your brain blows through your helmet and hits the wall behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much imagination is required there? Like, everything that you want to see is already given to you. You don't have to imagine anything. And I think that's one of my favorite things about 8-bit and 16-bit games, is it lets you be a kid. You know what I mean? It didn't spoon feed you like, if I wanted to use my imagination at all in a Call of Duty game, it's like, what am I gonna do? I gotta go put my dick in this decapitated guy's neck? Like, that's pretty much the next step where any imagination on the user would be required. Now, I'm not saying video games were better back then. Objectively, they're way better now. I am a nostalgia fiend. Anything that happened 25 years ago, even if it was of the same quality of something that happened yesterday, I like the thing that happened 25 years ago, because like, life was simpler, man. I was a child. Things were easier. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't worry about bills. I didn't worry about erectile dysfunction. Okay? I hope I don't have to worry about that for a long time. All I know is that when I was 8, I wasn't like, how come my pee-pee's not working? You know? It just worked. It just worked. For urine, I don't. Number 48. It's here. It's here. I know you guys have been waiting for number 48 for a long time. The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Released in 1991. Developer, Konami. Publisher, Konami. They had good games. I've said it before. I've ranted. I've raved. Konami put out good games. Not quite as good as Capcom, but they put out good games. Kid Ying and Dr. Yang set out on a journey across Japan to defeat various evil bad guys in this offbeat Konami platformer. Along the way, you'll molest gray cats to upgrade your weapons and play a whole bunch of minigames. Then, you'll defeat a shogun and rescue a princess. It's good times. Whew. Man, Mystical Ninja, dude. I'm getting a little warm, but I was also warm today. I was playing freaking ping pong, and some of you may have listened to Is It Worth It with Zach and Joe. And Joe, he's been freaking harming me at ping pong. I've been getting scraped, dude. Today, let's see. He won, what did he win? Like 22-20. And then I won 23-21. But then he beat me like 21-11. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Sid Lexia says any game that includes the first level of Gradius in its entirety and as a minigame is okay by me. And Valdronis says, Valdronius? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like, I've never heard this guy's name said aloud. I'm always a little wary of English translations of Japanese things. They tend to remove anything associated with unfamiliar Japanese legends and replace it with ridiculous attempts at comedy. This game is pretty odd even without the localizations, what with Dr. Yang's hair growing into his nose, and the way Kid Ying shimmies along the ground if you crouch and move. This game is very fun though, despite its weirdness. If you score some pussy, it makes your stick grow, and if you pick up a girl on the street, you will get paid. Sweet. It even has entertaining minigames. All in all, it's a great game. Veldronius. Solid review, my friend. Solid review. Number 47, a launch title. Boys, a launch title, Pilot Wings. Now, Pilot Wings is not the greatest game today. It's just not. I don't know what you want me to say. If you want me to say that Pilot Wings is the best game ever made, I'm not going to do it. It was pretty darn awesome in 1991, I would imagine, because I didn't play it until probably 2015 or 16, and I was like, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Released in 1991, developed in-house by Nintendo, published in-house by Nintendo. Hone your flying skills in this classic flight simulator for the Super Nintendo. Practice flying planes and hang gliders, go skydiving, or blast off with a rocket bell. Heck, you can even take control of a fully armed helicopter and go on rescue missions. Do you have what it takes to earn your pilot wings? Now, this isn't a flight simulator like we're going to teach you how to fly a jumbo jet. You know what I mean? It's not like beep boop 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 boop, and now you gotta watch all these like freaking dials, and now you're altitude, and you got air pressure, and the people in the back are crying out for their oxygen mask, and the cabin's depressurized, and the stewardess is running up to you and saying, "Excuse me, sir, would you like a vodka tonic?" And then I have to say, "No, I wouldn't like a vodka tonic because I'm trying to fly the plane." But everyone in the back is drinking all their vodka tonics, and they're getting freaking rowdy, dude. And somebody's trying to open up the side door, the emergency exit, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, dude, what's my fuel level?" And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's up there, and then you get sick because you had the fish for dinner, and then the guy from Homeward Bound, who's way more known for the movie Airplane, which is what I'm referencing right now, comes in and takes your seat and then like finishes the plane. Then Denzel Washington comes in all high on cocaine and he flips the plane. It's like not that. Do you know what I mean? This is not a serious thing. I mean, you've got a little gauge for your altitude, okay? You've got a speed, you've got a fuel meter, but it's not something that tries to super accurately recreate what it's like to fly a plane. It's still a game, okay? It's not like a hardcore flight simulation. Like there are some iRacing, okay? Now that is a racing simulation. They are trying to make you feel like you are a race car driver. Do you know what I mean? Mario Kart is not trying to make you feel like you are a go-kart racer. I like Pilot Wings. I think that the graphics on this are the absolute bee's knees for 1991, and that it really showed off the mode 777. You know what I'm saying? The mode 7. The mode 7. Have you heard of the mode 7? It was in the Super Nintendo. It wasn't in the Sega Genesis. And you can tell with games like Pilot Wings. This was one of the big 3 games that were out when the Super Nintendo launched. Okay? Pilot Wings, Super Mario World, SimCity. I'm not F-Zero was somewhere at the beginning. Okay. Also, this game can get pretty frustrating. It can get pretty, like, it doesn't have the tightest controls as it is a plane. And like, if you don't know if you've ever gone hang gliding or paragliding or parachuting or whatever the freak people are calling it these days. Okay. I can't imagine that would be the easiest thing in the world to control. So it can be even kind of frustrating when you're translating into a video game. Number 46, Final Fight. This is a great game, but why does it not have co-op, man? Why doesn't it have co-op? Still a good game. Still a good game. Released in 1991, developed by Capcom, published by Capcom. It's a less than perfect port. Okay, it lacks a co-op mode, it lacks the playable character Guy, but then Final Fight Guy was released, which was one of like the most rare games, and I'm not sure the whole story. I just know Final Fight Guy was a thing. Listen, guys, I don't try to be the video game historian here, okay? I'm not Pat the NES punk or NES punk or however I'm supposed to say it because I'm in America. I'm just some guy that I got a microphone because I knew Dan Brown, okay? You know what I'm saying is Dan Brown and I were hanging out, okay? I told Dan Brown, hey, drink this vodka. Dan Brown drank a lot of vodka one day. We became friends, right? And now I'm here. Okay, now I'm sitting in his chair. I'm looking at these beautiful mountains. They've got like some green trees growing on it. He's got set as his background. I don't know if he took this photo, if it's a generic screensaver. I don't know if he's ever been to this place. Okay, because it looks like you might need half a helicopter at least to get up here and take this photo. And I don't know if Dan's ever been in a helicopter or flown a helicopter or driven a helicopter or do whatever you've done in a helicopter or illegally stowed away on the bottom side of a freaking helicopter. Maybe he had his brother duct tape him to the bottom of it and then the helicopter took off and then, you know, he took the photo from there. I don't know. So this lacks a co-op mode, which it would be awesome if it had. Streets of Rage had a co-op mode, which some people think are the very best games on the Sega Genesis. Kim Justice, who gets a little goofy on her lifestyle videos, or his lifestyle videos. See, you can understand what I mean. But in terms of video game reviews, freaking brilliant. Oh, dude, Kim Justice puts out some really, really, really high quality content. I guess I missed the episode where she like became a woman, because I'm pretty sure it was a man at the beginning. And then she brought in this pretty clearly a dude and said, hey, this is my girlfriend. So I was a little confused there. But his judgment, I don't know. Oh, man, frick. That person's Kim. I'm just going to say Kim Justice's, not him or her, because I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure that she's a woman that used to be a man or wants to be known as a woman now. Kim Justice says Streets of Rage 2 is the best game on the entire Sega Genesis. I think it's good. I like Gunstar Heroes better. I know it's really, really lame, and I know it's not actually a better game, but I really, really love wrestling. I really, really love WWF Royal Rumble. That is my favorite wrestling video game ever. And I think that the roster on the Sega Genesis is just absolutely awesome. It has like just the right amount of mid-carders, but I loved them all. Maybe it was because of that game that I went on to really like IRS and really like Papa Shango and really like Rick the Model Martel. There are some better beat-em-ups out there. Okay? There are. But Final Fight's pretty good. Like, I'm not saying you're playing the best game. You're playing a good game when you're playing Final Fight. Like, you're not going to play this and be like, oh, this is terrible. You might play this and be like, oh, there are better beat-em-ups out there. Yeah, for sure. But you're not going to play this and be like, this is terrible. Definitely had some opportunities to be better, like the co-op mode. I cannot believe that there is no co-op mode in this. I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game for NES, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project, Turtles in Time, that whole Turtles series, like, half of it's just based on being able to play with your friends. You know, Streets of Rage, you get a buddy boy in there with you, you know? Number 45, Super Bomberman. Released in 1993, developed by Hudson Soft and published by Hudson Soft. Bomberman's first adventure on the Super Nintendo finds him battling through 48 levels of bomb-filled fun to save the Diamond City from the evil forces of Mr. Carrot and Dr. Muck, either by himself or with a second player. There's also the famous Bomberman Battle Mode, which allows up to 4 players to fight each other at once. If you're wondering how to do this when there's only 2 controller ports on a Super Nintendo, the answer is simple. The game comes with a multi-tap. You heard me right. It came with a multi-tap. You might be wondering why this game is ranked higher than Super Bomberman 2. After all, Super Bomberman 2 had a better adventure mode and offered a richer multiplayer experience. However, Super Bomberman, that's a typo there. That's a typo. However, Super Bomberman had 2 things the sequel didn't. First of all, it had a 2-player co-op mode. Secondly, it came with a Super Multi-Tap, the device that allowed you to plug 4 controllers into your Super Nintendo. The NES also had a great multi-tap, but it came packaged by itself and there wasn't much support for it. By packaging a game with it, and a great game at that, Hudson was able to popularize the multi-tap, thus leading to more games with 4-player support. In turn, the success of the Super Multi-Tap and 4-player games led Nintendo to build 4 controller ports into their N64, which quickly led to 4-player support being the console's industry standard. So if you've ever played Time Splitters 2 all night long with 3 of your best friends, you can thank Super Bomberman for making it happen. I will never in a million years understand why the PlayStation 2 still only had 2 controller ports. Maybe they knew they were such a juggernaut and they were out before the GameCube and the original Xbox and were still going to be better than those 2 systems that they didn't need it, or maybe they could then sell the multi-tap and make even more money. I do not know why you would not have as many controller ports as possible. It's going to open up game developers to be more creative with more players. You're going to sell more controllers. You're going to break more controllers. You're going to buy more controllers. That's why Super Bomberman plus a multi-tap plus 3 friends equals some of the best times of Valdronius's life. It is fun. Plus, like back in the day when you were playing on a multi-tap, it kind of felt like you were like getting away with something. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of felt like you were doing something that you weren't supposed to be allowed to do. That's how I feel playing with the multi-tap on the PS2 or like on the PS1 when you play Crash Team Racing. You know what I mean? And you'd have 4-player action, like going to town. It felt like sneaky. You know what I mean? And you got Super Bomberman to thank for it. Number 44, Super Mario All-Stars. Now, I don't know why they wouldn't just include Super Mario All-Stars plus World, because that version of Super Mario World that was included on the Super Mario All-Stars plus World cartridge is the only place that Luigi's sprite appears in the way that he is portrayed in like most modern 16-bit portrayals of Luigi, if that makes sense. In the original release, the launch game for the Super Nintendo, Luigi was just a palette swap of Mario. Well, fast forward a few fizzy years. I don't know what fizzy means. I just said that a few times in the last few seconds. What you're going to find is that Luigi now has a completely different art style. He has his own personality, okay? It's kind of like in the Japanese version of Super Mario Brothers 2, where he had different attributes. Where he was a little slippery devil. You know what I'm saying? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Now, Super Mario Brothers 2 in America, he also had different attributes, but with more... Excuse me, everyone. I got a hiccup. I haven't gagged in a while, though, because eggnog, that got to me. That was disgusting. That was disgusting. Frick, dude. I don't know if this game deserves to be number 44 because it was just poor. Listen, man. Listen. Super Mario All-Stars plus World is better than Super Mario All-Stars because it's Super Mario All-Stars plus the best game of all time. You know? Let me D my W, drink my wah, and then I'll get back to it. But that version of Super Mario World is it made Luigi feel different, like he did in 2. Now, Luigi and Mario and Peach, maybe she was Princess Toadstool at the time, and Toad, they all were different in the American version of Super Mario Brothers 2, but that wasn't actually a Super Mario Brothers game. Now, there's a lot of debate here, and the gaming historian tells me that it may have actually been because Doki Doki Panic was actually developed by picking up the pieces of vertically scrolling sequel to Super Mario Brothers, and then so Doki Doki Panic came out in Japan, and then in America we're like, oh, this game was going to be a Super Mario Brothers game anyways, let's just make it that again. But there's a little bit of confusion exactly what order all of these things happen and who's what, where's where, you know. This is Shigeru Miyamoto, is this Riptide, like who really knows? Do you know what I'm saying? I think that Luigi just felt completely bananas in the Japanese version of Super Mario Brothers 2, and this is where we first got introduced to him. Now, they fricked up all of the physics and all of the fun, you know what I mean, of the first game. I think the third game was pretty much the same, okay? Super Mario Brothers 3 was pretty much the same as it was on NES. I mean, that was a pretty advanced NES game. So they just updated the graphics a little bit. I don't think any of these games look as good on the Super Nintendo as they did on the NES, but that's okay. They're not as charming. That's the word, man. They're not as charming. But they goofed up the physics, man. On Super Mario Brothers 1, also, I never really liked Super Mario Brothers 2. Because this was the first place I played it, I didn't like the way Mario controlled on this game, especially the Super Nintendo version of it, the Lost Levels as we call it, which I don't need to tell you about that. If you're freaking 49 minutes in to the 6th episode of a Nintendo freaking list countdown, then you already know the story of how the Lost Levels was the real successor to Super Mario Bros. Anyway, Super Mario All-Stars. It's great. I mean, like it was awesome back at the time. Now, what it's known for is teaching game companies that it's profitable to re-release games and make people pay for things again. You know what I mean? Like, if Super Mario All-Stars had never come out, then would they have known that remakes were ever going to do well? No, they wouldn't. You know? Number 43, Super Star Wars, and I don't know what else to say about this game besides it's hard, okay? I've already talked about Star Wars before on this podcast. I've said I understand why other people like it. I just don't, okay? I just don't really like Star Wars, and we got a new Mandalorian doo-wopper. We got a new Star Wars movie coming out. We had Star Wars movies coming out the last few years. I just don't really get into Star Wars. I don't care if you do. I understand if you do, but I don't really. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal that much to me. I like Rocky, dude. I think if we're talking about movie series that should have ended after like 4 instead of gone and make 15, then I think that Rocky beats the pants off of Star Wars for sure. And that is an unpopular opinion. You can take that to the bank. Soloist Assault. I don't know what the title is, dude. Who really knows, man? Who knows who's titling who? Who knows who's posting what? Who knows who's talking when? Okay? Who knows where my co-host Bjorn Flugelhorn Airborne Bjorn is, man? Airborne Bjorn is this Flugelhorn. They're going darn. That's what the captain was saying as he was crashing the plane. It was really quite sad that he was making a joke out of the situation because all the people were clearly going to die. Super Star Wars is hard. Released in 92, developed by Sculptured Software under license from LucasArts, published by JVC Musical Industries. Go forth, young Skywalker, seek out Ben Kenobi and learn the way of the Jedi. Meet Han Solo and Chewbacca, rescue Princess Leia, blow up the Death Star. A New Hope isn't just one of the greatest movies ever made, it's one of the greatest platformers ever made. Sid Lexia says, forget about Donkey Kong Country, Super Star Wars is the best game trilogy on the NES. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it, okay? I know at some point in the series you get to play as other characters, and even in the same game, they're too freaking hard, dude. I used to play The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends on Super Nintendo back in the day, and my dad liked Rocky and Bullwinkle. He grew up with Rocky and Bullwinkle, so when the game came out, he bought Rocky and Bullwinkle for me. And it was so freaking hard that never in my life have I ever played as Rocky the Squirrel, Rocky the Flying Squirrel, without using cheat codes to warp to his level. And I didn't even know those cheat codes existed until I was 10, 15 years old. So, like, for most of my childhood, I'm just stumbling around as this stupid moose, dude. And if you could only be a moose for your entire life, wouldn't you be a little confused? They don't call me the confused moose for nothing. Side story, I still laugh about the time I went to a church once and they had a guest pastor who was like the father of this like network of churches. He spent the whole time talking about how his daughter got attacked by a moose when they were in Alaska, and it ruined her basketball career. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, how many moose do you really come in contact with? And why are you causing that moose so many problems that it comes charging at you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, what were you doing? Were you messing around with its baby? Were you giving its mate a nice little handy next to the old super sycamore tree? You know what I'm saying? Were you taking a dump on its favorite pine cone? What were you doing to make this moose so mad? I've never heard of such moose mania before. This guy's daughter has constant pain to this day because she got attacked by a moose in Canada. And he spent the whole sermon talking about this dangerous moose attack, dude. And I'm not talking about like chocolate mousse, the dessert. I'm talking about like big mother effing moose, dude. Like Clydesdale looking mother effing horse moose, dude. Like, you take a deer and you put the horse version of that in the forest, man, and make it grow big. Moose can weigh up to 9,000 pounds. Imagine 9,000 pounds of moose meat running right at you. I just made up the 9,000, dude. I made up the 9,000. I don't know where I got 9,000 pounds from, okay? But I'm like, I need to know how much a moose weighs. They're not going to know how much a moose weighs. Make up a number. I made up 9,000. Sounded really high. I need to apologize. Number 42, Kirby Superstar. Now here's the issue I got with this one is it says on the box that it's 7 games in 1, but you know you aren't Kirby. I called you QB. Your name's not QB, it's Kirby. Okay. I didn't mean to be treating the curb like that. Okay. Now, you know what I say when you tell me you got 7 games in 1, Kirby? I say curb your enthusiasm. Man, it's been a long day. It has been a long freaking day. I just don't understand how you can advertise this as 7 games in one when it's clearly just like a bunch of mini games. Like, who would have ever went out and paid $50+ for one of those 7? Be like, oh yeah, this is a pretty good game. No, so like, why would you advertise there's 7? Like, frick, dude, why don't you just call every world in Super Mario a different game? You know, easy on 7 days. You know, gotcha, Curb. I gotcha. Released in 1996, developer HAL, published by Nintendo. Sidlexia says, I would prefer a full-fledged Kirby platformer to this collection of quasi-games, but I guess it's better than nothing. Heck, it's more than just better than nothing. It's incredibly fun, especially with 2 players. It is incredibly fun. Like, I'm not going to argue with that. Douche McAllister says that he had the choice to pick between this and Chrono Trigger back in the day. And as you can see by its ranking, it wasn't the best choice, but the game itself was still a blast. It had a bunch of 2-player modes too, and since I had friends back then, it was a darn good time. I think they could have done away with the gourmet race and other craptastic games that they bundled in there, though. 8 games. Oh, it was 8 games in one. It wasn't just 7. You know what I'm saying? Right, more like 3 games, 3 minigames, and 2 really short quests that are part of the last 2 games you unlock. Way to manipulate the masses, Hal. That's what I'm saying, dude, I'm sorry. I am the SNES idiot. I will admit that, because I thought there were 7 games in Kirby Superstar. There are actually 8. Okay? But the point is, that is not 8 full friggin' feature-length games, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this one where you're just, I think it's against King DDD, but it might not be. It might be against someone else. I don't know. I haven't really played through Kirby Superstar in a while. I'm really sorry. I've been spending most of my time playing Super Mega Baseball 2 lately, so I haven't given Kirby Superstar enough love. You know what I'm saying? What I need to do is I need to give it a little caressing, okay? I need to lick it on the nips, okay? And I need to blow in the cartridge slot so that Kirby Superstar knows that I'm coming from a place of love. This game's okay. It's okay. Someone just knocked on the wall. I don't know what was going on there. It's pretty good. I mean, number 42 is about where it should be. Like, it's a really solid game that no one is going to play and be like, oh, this is a bad game. It's not one of the best of all time. This is a good spot for it. Number 42. Number 41, Sparkster, released in 1994 by Konami. Developed and published by my boys at Konami. The evil Generalissimo Lioness has kidnapped Princess Flora. As Sparkster, a brave possum knight armed with a sword and a jetpack, it's your job to rescue her. Can you defeat the General's army of robots and anthropomorphic wolves and save the princess? You darn well better. Also, you'll confront your arch nemesis, the evil knight, Axel Gear. Sparkster's a good one. This game has often been characterized as a cheap attempt by Konami to cash in on the success of Sonic the Hedgehog. This might be true, but Sparkster was designed by Nobuya Nakazado, the man who designed Contra 3. I'm not trying to imply that Sparkster is as good as Contra 3, but it's about as 70% as good. And anything that's 70% as good as one of the most ridiculously awesome games ever made is still pretty darn awesome. I mean, come on, it's a Konami platform where you get a sword and a jetpack. If it takes more than that to sell you on a video game, then you, my friend, are not a gamer, you are a charlatan. Sparkster is one of those games where your dude is just like overpowered and like you're an overpowered dude. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not one of those where you ever feel like helpless or anything like that. It's like you're an overpowered dude and then you just gotta go in and see what you can do against overwhelming amounts of enemies, but not necessarily like, oh, any one particular dude is going to be too hard for you because you rocket through them, you sword through them, you blast through them, whatever you want to through them, dude. Sparkster's good. it's not like, is very similar to Kirby Superstar. It's not one of the best games on the Super Nintendo. I think we're going to really, really start like hitting our stride. I would say that this list gets really, really good. Maybe around, boy, we've got some good numbers coming up next week. We do. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to make you listen. But, like once you hit 30, 25, 20, if you're really stingy, you are like going into bona fide classics. Now, Sid Lexia's rankings might not be the same as mine because, like I've said, I'm not RPG man number one. I like sports games more than him. Okay. Him and his friends. But like we are getting into some freaking good mother effing games. We are. You know what else we got? Some really, really good doo-woppers. We got a really, really good sponsor in eToro. eToro may have dumped me for Alec Baldwin as their number one dude, but I'm still number 2. Or number 3. I don't know what number I am. I just know I'm not as good as Alec Baldwin, okay? But still, go check out youmeanbtc.com/trade, okay? Help us out, boys. Help us out. You know what I'm saying? You enjoy listening to this. This isn't a full-time career. It's nice to have a little something to support this passion project. And anything you can do, like by visiting our website or going to youmeanbtc.com/trade. You can check out cloudfree.tech, which is another project Dan Brown's got going. I'm probably, not as big of a bopper on that one. And I'm on the You, Me, and BTC, seeing as I'm the superstar, number one, like super best host, It helps us out, And thanks for listening, guys. I'm going to be coming at you with part 7 next time. That's going to be number 40 through 31. I'm really, really happy that you were able to make it to the end of this podcast. Good for you. That's not easy to do. I probably couldn't have done it. But that's it till next time, guys. I do apologize that Flugelhorn Bjorn couldn't be here because of his airborne catastrophe. So that sucks. Maybe he'll be able to pop in next time. Who knows? You've been listening to Solo List Assault version 2.7. I'm Riptide. I'm Ryan Tofil. I'm Ripper. I'm Rip. I'm not Bjorn. I'm sorry. I gotta go. I'm gonna get Bjorn on the horn. Ask about his flugelhorn, dude. I didn't know if that was a real instrument or just something Dr. Seuss made up, but I guess it's real. I had to look it up before, but now I don't because I looked it up before. Alec Baldwin, how dare you?